The cost of living is still a real issue. It is December 22nd, Monday. Okay, 2025. We are about to enter 2026. Are we going to have this cost of living issue still after the new year in 2026? You guys let me know in the comments. That is what we are discussing here live today on the Coin Zone. I'm your host, Crypto with Paul. Guys, hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the channel as you're joining. I appreciate you for tapping in. Let's get right into this one. So we're going to first dissect a post by the Kobeissi Letter. Then I want to take a look at this clip from the PBD podcast from their live stream this morning, dissecting Howard Lutnick's, comments, and then also looking at a clip from the All In podcast with David Sachs. Now, if you guys have been on our previous streams before, you have heard those names before, Howard Lutnick and David Sachs, both part of Trump's administration. So what is really going on here? What really happened in 2025? Let's dissect it all, guys. As I said, let's get right into this. Chief the Yorkie, what's going on? How was your weekend? Weekend was good, Chief. I'm about to fly back home to New Jersey for the holidays, but I'll still be trying to kick it live here with you guys and not miss a beat. Good afternoon, Ultra Justin. What's going on? Appreciate you guys for tapping in. So let's get right over to this. Okay, I'm going to go back to the Kobeissi Letter. We're going to start here and then shift over to a clip from the PBD podcast. But this is true, guys. Okay, so the Kobeissi Letter, we all know, working one job is no longer enough to cover cost of living. The number of multiple job holders surged from 499,000 in October and November to a record 9.3 million. Is that right? That is absolutely insane. Is that a typo? Okay. This figure has risen 3.9 million plus since the low 2020. This is also 1.2 million above the 2008 financial crisis peak. Well, that could be because we have a lot more people in the country now since 2008. As a percentage of total employment, multiple job holders rose to 5.8%, nearly matching the 2-year previous highs seen over the last 25 years. At the same time, Americans working primary full-time and secondary part-time jobs jumped to 5.3 million, the second highest in history. As a percentage of employment, this metric now stands at 3.4%, the second highest since 2000. The cost of living crisis is real. Yes, it is, guys. And I want to break down this clip by the PBD podcast with Howard Lutnick and David Sachs in the All In podcast because I have to agree, and I think they're absolutely right. As you guys know, here on the Coin Zone, we've talked a lot about the Trump administration. We've covered a lot of live streams of Trump specifically speaking. I've spoke very highly about what he's doing, getting all these investments, $20 trillion of investments into the United States, which I think it's going to rear its head and show a lot of positive things in 2026. However, we haven't seen a lot of these things come to fruition. Maybe the, gas, he just had what we covered 2 weeks ago now with what he's doing with automobiles. He had the CEO of Ford there. There's good things that he's doing, for sure. The media won't freaking tell you, of course, but there are good things what he's doing. However, what I do agree with is that the cost of living has not been addressed, and they're pretty much gaslighting you into saying, yeah, no, it's come down. And I forget the guy's name. I do like the PBD podcast. That's a regular watch for me. Patrick Bet David's great at what he does. I think they have a lot of unbiased people on the panel. And I got to agree with this guy. He's kind of a guest. I don't think he's a normal panelist. Well, he's not. I know he's not. Adam, Vinny, Tom, and Pat are the main guys. And then they have this guy in who kind of discusses things. So we see the numbers themselves from the Kobeissi Letter. And now we're going to take a look at this clip from the PBD podcast and just listen to what they have to say. Now, I'm going to stop actually sharing this real quick so I make sure that the audio is being shared here, which it looks like it is. So let's get right into this, guys. This is the PBD podcast, but you're watching the Coin Zone. So if you're just joining now, make sure to hit that like button, sub to our channel, because we're always doing these lives for you guys, breaking everything down from an unbiased standpoint. And we're going to get to some crypto stuff afterwards. This all relates to crypto, guys. All right. If people are working 2 jobs out there and they can't even afford to buy groceries, they're not going to be investing in crypto. So let's break this all down. Let's start here with Howard Lutnick, and then we'll get to the David Sachs part of this next.
The number here, let me go to example. Members of Trump, Congressman Howard Lutnick said the drop is proof the White House policies are finally pushing down prices, responding to Democrats who urge administration hasn't done enough to improve the economy. Is this the video you have, Humberto, to play? Can we hear from Lutnick first? I think you have a video of him. You had it marked off as one of the videos. You got it? Go for it, buddy.
President said he was going to bring prices down and that he was going to grow our revenue through tariffs, but he was not going to let prices go up. We're cutting energy prices. We're cutting interest rates, right? These things are coming down. And I think what you're going to see next year is an extraordinary year. Energy prices down, interest prices down, and earnings up, up, up.
Okay, Brandon.
So yeah, biggest gaslighting campaign in the history of the world, possibly.
All right. Listen to what this guy says, because I have to agree with him. I think he's 100% right here. Okay. And again, guys, I'm not a Democrat. I'm not a Republican. This is just an unbiased view of a recap of what happened in 2025, maybe where we're headed in 2026. All right, let's get back to it.
What? Just not this specifically. I'm not trying to be too hard on Trump and the administration, but just the way that inflation's measured and reported to us, biggest gaslighting campaign in the history of the world. Because when the government says, "Oh, good news, guys, inflation's down," the CPI, Consumer Price Index, went from 3% last year to 1.8% this year, so it's cheap. Things are cheaper now. No, it's not actually true. That just means that inflation went up by 3% last year and then went up by an additional 1.8% this year. So nothing's cheaper. It just went up at a slower rate. Right. So the only way that inflation actually goes down is if that number was negative. But the problem is that if that number is negative, the economy is likely in a recession. So that's the problem with the way that the economy works. Does that make sense?
Yes. But is what's happening now? I know they're trying to spin it to not make them look bad. But is this a result of the past 4 years of everything, the printing the money and doing all that?
Yeah. The printing the money is like the main driver of the reason that the most important things are more expensive. Yes, I won't I argue against the fact that they're trying to make it better. Like oil's going down, that's good. Things that are within control are going down. But then like stuff like housing, cars, food, transportation, energy, like the energy, like for your house, not for the car. That stuff's still going up. So
yeah, and why is it going up, guys? And he'll address it here in a second. But why is stuff like that going up? And this is the difference when I have conversations about economics. Look, I'm no freaking expert, guys, but I've been trying to understand this for 5+ years now. And the average person I have these conversations with, family and friends, I think there's a separation between micro and macro. Long term, you zoom out, you look at charts from 1913 when the Fed was created, right? When central banks had the opportunity to start printing money at nauseum. That's macro. You zoom out, it's 2025 now. It's over 100 years ago. But what is causing the dollar to lose value? It's the printing of money. It's putting more dollars into circulation. All right. Everything else is macro. It's temporary. If it's maybe a policy that a president has. For example, one of the first executive orders that Joe Biden had when he took office 4+ years ago was getting rid of the Keystone Pipeline in one day. That made the price of oil, a barrel of oil, go from $30 to $130. That enriched people like Robert Kiyosaki, who owns oil rigs. But what did it do to the average American? And made gas way more expensive. Okay, so that's short-term inflation. That's micro-inflation via policy. But overall, you zoom out, macro inflation is the printing of money. That just is what it is. And he'll address that. He says that basically here in a second. Let's get back to it.
Like people are still getting pinched by that. But yeah, sure. The rate of inflation is going down compared to last year. So yeah, that's a positive, but it's ridiculous to act like the problem of affordability is fixed or anywhere close to being fixed.
Do you think that that's the biggest issue right now that they're dealing with? Besides all the okay, I get it. But is that the main issue meaning voters?
Yeah, I think that's their biggest liability for sure. And especially for him because he kind of does this stubborn thing where he doubles and triples down when he feels like he's getting pinched by something. So I don't think that's the right approach for him to say that. Like, it's not his fault either. Like, he did print some of the money, but Biden just like quadrupled the amount of money that was
So
printed.
Ben, if you're in the administration and you're going to speak to the public about what's happening and not play it was all Biden's fault, how do you explain to them in layman's terms, like, hey, listen, besides it being them, this is what we're doing to try to fix it? Because are they trying?
Yeah, no, like,
And I like that you're critical, Brandon. Good, because I went to Whole Foods and I'm not even joking. And I don't shop crazy. I'm a simple carnivore, whatever.
Yeah.
Bro, it was so expensive. Chase declined and they're like, it's fraud. That's how much. I'll show you right now. I'm going to show you while he's talking. Chase was like, hey, did somebody steal your card? I'm like, no, I'm at Whole Foods. I go, oh, okay, it's you. I'm not. Go ahead.
That's hilarious. But no, like stuff like housing, food, energy.
Did
like,
you see Sachs and Jason debate the South?
No.
This just happened. Rob, play
All-In
play this
podcast,
clip.
yeah.
Play this clip on.
Yeah. Okay.
what-
So here's okay. This is where I love where they get to, because we've talked about David Sachs multiple times here on the channel here. All right, the crypto czar. You heard Charles Hoskinson just mention this. Also, over 20 people interviewed for the chair of the crypto czar, and they gave it to someone who didn't even interview. Charles said, a podcast bro, and he's referencing the All-In podcast. Chamath Palihapitiya, two other guys, I forget their names. I love it. It's a great podcast. If you want to know more about business, big tech, investing, I mean, these guys, they offer great insight. And guess what? They debate each other too. And that's the whole point. If you're still listening to mainstream news, guys, to get your information, I mean, I'm sorry, but you're just not getting the correct information. You're being told lies. Okay. And I'm not saying any of these podcasts are the answer, but it's more of a decentralized approach, right? To use a crypto term. Anybody can have their opinion, can start their own platform and debate each other. And that's what they're doing here. That's the whole point. It's hearing all these differences of opinion. But let's get back to this, because I believe, forget his name, but the guy in the All-In podcast, the host, is pushing back against David Sachs. And it's honestly pretty great to hear. Let's get to it.
Sachs said happened last 90 days. Go ahead.
The thing about polls is it's obviously just a snapshot in time, and it doesn't tell you what things are going to look like 6 months from now or a year from now. I think they're going to look very good.
Yeah, I mean, maybe he turns it around.
I think it's already been turned around. It just takes time to kick in.
Yeah, I mean, the public's perception, it hasn't turned around, and inflation was supposed to go down, and it stayed.
It
high.
has.
No, it stayed at. It's still way above the 2%
It's been
target.
1.6% for the last 3 months.
No, it has not. It was
That's
just
what
said
Haas said.
2.7.
No,
It's
that's
2.7. This is the
year.
problem, I think, with the administration, and you're part of it. Like, you guys cherry pick numbers, and it's not matching the numbers on the field. So when you cherry pick the
CPI
gas
is
number,
cherry picking. This is
Yes.
a CPI
no,
report.
the number.
Open the cover of the Wall Street
prediction was
Journal.
3.1.
2.7%. Hold on. 2.7%
2.7.
CPI. 2.6% core. 1.6% for last 3 months.
Okay.
What is hard
The-
to understand about this?
No,
Obviously,
two-
the last 3 months are going to tell you what the trajectory
Yeah.
is.
Okay. The fact
You're
is,
looking for every excuse you can
No,
to
no, no, no,
basically
no. No, no.
downplay
By
what
the way-
is
He's made the most money.
an
for
awesome
don't-
report. And
Watch.
just look at the stock market, which is ripping today, because this
that's
is
the
way below
problem.
expectations.
No, you're
the only one
explaining
who's
the
not
problem.
happy about this news, Jake.
No. The country's not happy about it. I'm not. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm doing fantastic. I own equities. I'm doing better than I ever have in my life. I'm talking about how the bottom half of America perceives it. This is the blind spot of the Trump administration. You've proved my point by not addressing it. Let's go to the next step.
100%. 100%. Very well put by him. And I think he does a really good point there, guys. I think he made a very good point there. Just going back to what the Kobeissi Letter states. Look, this is a problem for the bottom half of America. The not 1%ers, the people who don't have $1 million plus. The average person who has, at this point, the average person has credit card debt with high interest, car payments with high interest, possibly a mortgage if they do have a house. The cost of living, it's, the wages are not keeping up with inflation. The average person's struggling, guys. And I think this guy hit the nail on the head. The host of the All-In podcast pushing back against David Sachs, saying, listen, you guys are not cherry picking numbers, because you just have to kind of understand what the CPI represents. But they are gaslighting in a sense, saying now inflation sound. No, it's just not going up as much as it was under Biden so far. But in defense of everything, guys, and I'll say this until it's the new year, I think 2026 is going to be a big year, a great year for a ton of reasons. And we're going to look at more of those reasons in a sec here in a little bit. Okay. Ultra Justin, are you a trader or just a hodler? It's a great question. My thesis really is nothing beats. I'm a long-term holder. I buy and hold. However, I have made a couple trades. Back when I first started investing, I made a ton of trades and they were all stupid. I just bought a bunch of cryptos. I bought like 15 cryptos and then I was like, what am I doing here? And then I just kind of traded those around. That was years ago. Ever since then, I just buy and hold. Okay, I have a conviction of a handful of projects I genuinely believe in. I do a lot of research on and I just buy and hold them. However, I probably made 2 trades that have worked out for me. I bought silver in I think like late 2022 and I thought silver was going to be a big thing. I was right about that. Unfortunately, I sold it way before it hit its all-time high. I sold it while it went up. I made a good little bag on it. That was one trade I made in my Roth. I took my winnings on, my profit on my silver and I put it back into Bitcoin. My other successful trade was in the Cardano industry, on the Cardano blockchain. I had SNEC that I got into a little bit early and I basically like 8x to my SNEC and then I put that back into ADA. So those are the 2 trades that I've really done that have really worked out for me. But other than that, I just buy and hold. That's a great question, Ultra Justin. I appreciate you interacting with me and chopping it up. Now, let's get to the things that I said I think will probably give us a nice 2026. As we all know, Raoul Pal has been beating this drum before anybody else, really. Liquidity. These cycles are driven by liquidity. It is not the four-year halvings. Well, guess what? The Federal Reserve to pump $6.8 billion into the market this week, making a total of $38 billion over the last 10 days, guys. Yeah, that is liquidity. Shout out to JP, our guy Jerome Powell. We probably won't see much of him anymore. Sad. Is it sad, though? Well, for us, kind of, because we liked Hard Hat. We didn't agree with him. But we liked making fun of him. We liked the Hard Hat memes. JP, Jerome Powell, we've listened to on a ton of live streams before. If you guys were there for any of those previous live streams where we've covered the FOMC meetings, the meetings at the Fed Roundtable, these things that they've had, let us know in the comments. But what else is happening with Jerome Powell? Look at this AI-generated photo of JP. All right, bullish. President Trump says the next Fed chair must cut interest rates immediately. Yeah. Who is going to be the next Fed chair? Well, it looks like, guys, President Trump expected to name new Fed chair to replace Jerome Powell by the first week of January 2026. So what are we talking? 2 weeks? 3 weeks? JP's going to be out. Maybe Kevin Hassel, whatever the hell his name is, that guy. There's a couple other candidates that might be replacing him. We'll see. Let's move on. The SEC just officially dropped crypto from its quote-unquote high-risk assets category. Okay, 2026 finally marks the end of Bitcoin being labeled a threat, easing regulations. That is extremely bullish. What else do we have, guys? Major U.S. banks are now issuing credit backed by Bitcoin. Look at these names, guys. Wells Fargo, Charles Schwab, BNY Mellon, Bank of America, JP Morgan, Citibank. Every single one of these banks, Michael Saylor mentioned on stage just recently, saying that they all reached out to him. A couple weeks ago, we covered Michael Saylor at JP Morgan's building with a legendary photo that I'm probably going to get framed and put behind me, where he's sitting reading a newspaper and it says Bitcoin on it in the offices of JP Morgan. Completely legendary. I feel like that photo is going to live on forever, be in history textbooks, or at this point, not textbooks, but some sort of digital something, because I'm sure that's what the kids are going to learn from in the future, not an actual physical textbook. Right now, the market is great for new traders. Traders' volume is low and nice to learn trends on this market moves. Just been doing some swing trading on Bitcoin. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not downplaying trading. I follow a bunch of guys who trade and they're very wealthy. They're rich, young kids even who figured it out. And maybe I should start to learn how to do that and change my life. But for me, it's just easier. I don't know why. I just like buying and holding. That works for me. That's my thesis. Maybe I should start to swing trade a little bit. We'll see, guys. I just don't like losing money, to be honest. Okay, let's move on from here. So what else is bullish, guys? Okay, breaking. The SEC chairman Paul Atkins predicts U.S. financial system may shift to RWA tokenization within a couple of years. Quote unquote, we're actually embracing it, and I believe that we need to be embracing it to keep the United States at the forefront. Something's going off in my notifications. I've been having a lot of absolute insanity. Been tweeting a lot about 8 and midnight lately, and I've been getting a lot of hate, a lot of comments, a lot of idiots in my comments bickering. But I appreciate the engagement, so shout out to the idiots. All right. Update. JP Morgan now accepts Ethereum as collateral for loans. Bitcoin and ETH are the clear winners when it comes to Wall Street, guys. This is undeniable. Anybody picking on Ethereum? Sure, maybe things about its fundamentals. Still has things to improve and fix on, but ETH is a clear winner, guys. I'm a fan of Vitalik. I got nothing bad to say about ETH. Pretty amazing to see. And for me right now, the entry-level price on ETH, if you're considering investing into this space in general, I mean, god damn, guys. You have Ethereum just sitting at $3,000 still. Was just recently under. In the last week or so, ETH was at 2,800. 2,700. Absolutely insane, guys. If you're looking to get into this space, why don't you start with Bitcoin or ETH? This is not financial advice, but to me, they're clear winners at this point. Clear winners. Yeah. So, moving on. Stablecoins could process 50 trillion in transactions in 2026, Maple Finance CEO Sid Powell told CoinDesk, predicting all capital markets activity will eventually take place on chain. Well, Paul Atkins of the SEC just said something very similar. I mean, this is the way, guys. This is what we've been talking about with our guests on the channel here. RWA, AI, privacy. I hate losing money as well. Lost a 20 out of my pocket the other day and was thinking about that. What I could have done with that. Damn. That stinks, man. Someone who finds that 20, you just made their day, Ultra Justin. Whoever picks that 20 up off the ground. I was there as a kid once. I remember walking in high school with my friend Will, and we were broke high school kids trying to do something, have fun on the weekends, and we said, how are we going to make this happen? We need some cash. And I literally five seconds later, we're walking down the road. We found a 20 on the ground. So, Ultra Justin, look at it this way, bud. You just made someone's day. They're going to find that 20 and be like, God, you sent me a sign. I appreciate the 20. Just don't buy beer with it like I did, guys. Maybe invest it, okay? Yeah, I'm pissed I had to buy Christmas presents. Me too, man. I could have bought more Bitcoin with that. I could have bought more crypto with that. But to be honest, right now, I have my eyes on if I'm going to put money into crypto, I want to scoop up a little bit more Night tokens, okay? And I got my eyes on BitTensor right now, like big time. Got my eyes on BitTensor. For me, BitTensor, ADA, Midnight, Bitcoin, that's been my focus. And yeah, but Chief the Yorkie, I'm glad to see you're back with the OG account. And I'm glad to see you guys are still tapping in. We got 3 days until St. Nick is here, guys. St. Nick has his own bags. Not crypto bags, but with gifts. So hopefully we all get nice gifts. Midnight is almost at 8 cents. I believe it popped up to like 9. Was up like 47%. Right? Midnight's still not listed on Coinbase because Coinbase has an investment basically with another privacy competitor of Midnight, if you want to look at it that way. But the way Charles said it is if they're not going to put Midnight on Coinbase, then annually they would lose around $20 million. So maybe it's in their best interest to list Night at this point if they're still going to have this much trading volume. which it has been going absolutely crazy. Okay, you know how I know that? Let's look at this. Tap Tools just in. Knight has flipped Pepe by market cap. It's now the 43rd largest token. That's today. That was just 55 minutes ago. That is absolutely insane, guys. We covered Knight before it even launched. Probably some homeless guy that wasted on booze. You're probably right. You're probably right. Ultra Justin, I'm not going to ask where you live. You could share if you want to. Don't want to be invasive. But depending on if you're living in a city, whatever, you're probably right. You know, it's at 10 cents. Yeah, Midnight is at 10 cents currently. All-time high of, what was it? 12 cents. It was at 11. Okay, sorry. Week. Yeah, it reached 12. Yesterday when it got back to 12. It was up 89% this week, guys. Wow. But just look at this, guys. This right here is absolutely insane. I got to be honest. I didn't even know this was possible. I didn't see this coming at all. Knight is ranked 5th in volume across all chains, guys. Behind USDC, over XRP, over Solana, over BNB. 5, guys. That's freaking insane. So, if Midnight wasn't on your radar now, it freaking should be. Or before it should be. The Midwest. Yeah, probably some homeless guy. Well, Ultra Justin, you just gave a nice Christmas gift to someone who might have needed it. Even if it was for booze. Everyone has their vices, right, guys? Okay, well, that's the end of the stream here, guys. I gotta keep it real. I have a very important interview coming up in a little bit. You guys are gonna love this, okay? We got some big names coming for you here on the Coin Zone. I'm excited for you guys to see this, genuinely. This is 2026 is going to be a big year for us. You guys got into the Coin Zone before mainnet launch, right? Let's put it that way. Just kidding. We've been, a channel for a couple months now, and you guys have been helping us, moving us forward. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, you guys are going to see some pretty cool interviews off the bat here in 2026. I'm freaking excited about it. So I got to get ready for that. Do some other things here. Good luck, Ultra Justin. I appreciate you, man. You guys are the best. I hope you guys have great Christmases. I hope our bags pump a little bit, even though I don't think that's going to happen. I hope it goes down a little bit more. Seriously. Then I'll buy more. That's the goal. I hope 8. Look at ADA right now, guys. Absolutely insane. ADA's at freaking 38 cents. Gross. Okay. ETH is still at 3K. It's kind of gross. Solana's back down to 126. Kind of gross. But great buying opportunities if you're going to be here long term and you believe in these projects. Do your due diligence. Find projects that you like, you have high conviction in. And right now might be good times to DCA into them. Not financial advice, but that's my 2 cents. And all my cents are in crypto. I'm like Jack Mahler, baby. All right. Well, I love you guys. I hope you have a great Christmas. This has been another stream of the Coin Zone with Crypto with Paul. Like I said, guys, I'll be back here. All right. I'm not going to disappear on you throughout the holidays. I'm going to be a little busy flying back to New Jersey with the family and stuff like that. So, I'm not guaranteeing I'm going to be active every single day, but I'm going to make it happen for you guys because we're in this together. So I appreciate you guys for tapping in. Make sure that sub button, share the stream if you can. Chief the Yorkie, Ultra Justin, you guys are the best. Merry Christmas. I'll see you again in a couple days. And that's about it. Take care, guys.